Hello my friends, back today with a different video for you. This is a celebration of my my 2000 subscription, which I got the other day. I think we're sitting at around 2002 now. It's taken 6 years, but we got there in the end. Now it's might not be a big deal, you know, for a lot of people because, you know, they're monetized, they deal with popular subjects. This is just a niche channel that deals with collecting, and there's no self-promotion. You just come to me, basically. You know, I don't seek viewers find me. So, you know, 2,000 subs over a 6-year period is, you know, quite pleasing to me. Now, obviously, a lot of those subs have expired, but nevertheless, you know, it doesn't alter the fact that 2,000 people have bothered to subscribe to the channel over that period. So I thought today, to mark that landmark, I would do something a bit different. So what we're going to do is we're going to encompass like the whole collection. We're going to have a look at what I call the unusual, the unique, and the scarce. These are items that, you know, I've probably shown a few of these before, but I just thought I'd lump them into one video showing some of the stranger stuff in my collection, if you like, or noteworthy stuff as well. So, you know, we'll not waste any time. We'll get straight into it. Now, this stuff's not in any particular order. You know, I've just picked a load of stuff that fit one of those, or two, or maybe all three of those categories, and I've just bunged them on the table here, and we'll have a look at them. You know, just a bit of fun, really. So, right, we'll start first with the PSP Go. I mean, not unusual in itself. It's pretty straightforward handheld. Actually, I love the style of this. I think it looks great. You know, the way it just, you know, folds and then unfolds into this nice little. What's unusual about it is that it's completely useless. I say it's useless to, you know, the average player, people who don't know things that you can do with it still. But, you know, so if the average player bought this, they wouldn't be able to do anything with it because A, it was a download only handheld, and B, you can't get anything for it now. It's the shop is closed down. So, you know, there you have. I suppose it's a problem with modern consoles, you know, that rely on the internet and whatever. It's useless, but nice nevertheless. And I'm glad I've got it in my collection. I mean, I got it cheap, but you know, they're getting, strangely enough, that even though it's useless, it's going up and up in price, which is weird itself. Now, one of the more strange things I have in my collection, I mean, this was gifted to me because of my interest in all things lenticular. This is a foreign film. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, but it's about zombies anyway. It's a DVD for a start, and it's a Steelbook. Now there are plenty of DVD Steelbooks out there, although I don't collect them. This one is the more unusual because it's a lenticular DVD Steelbook. Now, in all the years I've been collecting, I've never come across one. There might be some out there, but I've never seen one. And you know, the fact that it's a foreign film as well sort of like makes it unusual at least. So yeah, that was one little item that I thought was worth mentioning as unusual. Now, well, while we're talking about unusual, and lenticular as well. This was a little, you can see the transition from Spider. This was a little box I picked up. I mean, I have no idea where it came from. It's just I've no idea what you do with it, where it came from, whether it was just an ordinary bit of Marvel merchandise. But as I say, I only picked it up because it had a lenticular plate on the front there, and so I have absolutely no idea why I bought it, when I bought it, where I bought it, and for what for. So, you know, I just thought I'd show you that as a little bit of fun, because, as I say, it's just one of those things that I picked up. No idea what its use is, although I know I bought it because it was lenticular. Now, this I think this falls into the category of unusual. Many moons ago, it was in the 50s, there was a Topps did a series of bubblegum cards, become quite famous now, Mars Attacks. I mean, the set of them are a mint set of these are 4 figures now. And I just came across these on the net. It's a complete set. That's just the front card, but there's a complete set of how the cards were originally. But they've been made in slightly larger form. The cards were maybe it's about 2/3 the size of that when they came out in the bubblegum wrappers. And you've got all the cards, and you've got the checklist, which I believe came with the original set as well. So yeah, I mean, I just found those on the net, and I thought, hey, that's great to have a set of these, albeit in facsimile. But yeah, that's one of the more unusual things that I've picked up recently. And yeah, you don't. I mean, I dare say there's plenty of them around, but I'd never seen them before, so I just picked them up when I got them. Now, okay, well, I've got I've mentioned on this channel quite a lot about comic books, American comic books, and I have I've still got 2,500, which is it's a meagre collection compared with what I used to have back in the day. But I haven't got any comics that you would say were rare. I mean, you can pick up most comics online, no matter how sort of old they are. I mean, obviously, Detective 27, the first Batman 1, Superman 1. You can't find those readily because they go to auction houses. But the only unusual item I could find in the comic category were these little things that came out. Now, I don't know how long I've had these. I've got a feeling they might be the 80s, but basically they're just a mini comic. And I think they were, trying to remember, I think it was one of the serials that gave them away. But I picked these up in the 80s, and I've never seen a full set of them again. I have the full set here apparently. But yeah, just mini comics. I thought they were an interesting and unusual item to be showing you. It's most of the famous DC characters. And just again, just a fun little item that I found to be unusual at the time, and still do. We'll put those back later. Can't be bothered. Right now, not so long ago, you might remember that I showed you my collection of facsimile shadow pops. Now, back in the 80s, Jim Steranko did a media magazine called Media Scene. Started out as Comic Scene, I believe, and then changed its name to Media Scene. And basically, it covered, comics, pulps, a lot of adverts in it. But yeah, it was a nice little mag. I wish I'd kept mine because they're hellish expensive to get hold of now. But at the time, you could, if you were into the shadow and stuff as I were, you could send away for these. One was the Shadow Secret Society. One was the Brotherhood of Bronze. Now I show you these as scarce items because they're not the easiest things in the world to find now. I'll just give you a quick look at what's inside. I'll show you the shadow one. So you get the outer envelope, then you get the little sort of newsletter thing with some information in about the shadow. Then in the spirit of the old radio programs that used to come out about the shadow in the States in the 30s, you get a badge. These sort of things were very popular with the radio shows, used to give them away. And you've got your Shadow Society numbered card there, so each of them are numbered. So there weren't many of these things printed, so as I say, they're quite scarce. And then you had a checklist of all the magazines. And unfortunately, like an idiot, I used mine to check off all the pulps that I used to have. I say used to have, it's one of the things I do regret in life, selling my shadow pulps. But you go through financial peaks and troughs, and when I sold them, it wasn't one of my peaks, let's put it that way. So yeah, it's a sad day, but it's how you live and learn. So yeah, that was those which I found to be quite interesting. Excuse me, I'm just going to finish off my coffee here. Now, one of the days, I mentioned these when I did the Harlan Ellison video I did a while back. One of the greatest days of my life was meeting my literary hero, Harlan Ellison. Now, I have told this story before, but I'll just briefly recap on it for you. This falls into the category of unique, because it is a book that is signed, and it's, I don't know if you can see there, it says, with best wishes, Harlan Ellison, blah blah, for I can't see it back the front, to the Ken Howe Appreciation Society. Okay, now that came about because the first day I met Harlan Ellison, he was at a shop called Words of Music in London in August 1976. And in America he used to do these famous sessions where he would write stories in various shop windows of comic book of shops and what have you. And he came over to England to promote this piece that shouted Love at the Heart of the World and Dangerous Visions too. You basically, if you another weird thing about it was, if you bought this and the other book, you'd be entitled to a copy of the script that he was writing. I have shown those before. I should have really brought them out for this video, but I can't get everything into a half an hour video. And yeah, I met him, and I gave him, weirdly enough, on the way in, I picked up a couple of old 1950s paperbacks, and I showed them to him. And he said, well, I haven't even got those in my, my bibliographer hasn't even got those editions. I said, okay, they're yours. And he was most grateful. And he actually signed a case full of books that I brought with me. And when it came round to talking to him while he was signing them, I mentioned to him that I was starting something called the Harlan Ellison Appreciation Society, which would be a newsletter, fanzine kind of thing, you know. I was into fanzines in the 70s and 80s. And he was quite interested in that, and he said he would try and help me with it, send me stuff, and I could interview him by phone, gave me his phone number. And that's where the inscription came from, the Ken Howe Appreciation Society. So that's very, very, very dear to me, that is. And I show it to you as a unique item because nobody else has got one like that. Okay, now this is, I dare say this comes in the scarce category, but back in the day, famous authors would write books under pen names. And this is this book, although it says by Bill Barkley, it's actually by Michael Moorcock, the famous science fiction writer. And as I say, it's quite scarce, and I just show it as an interesting example of someone who writes books under a different name. You won't find many of these on eBay. So yeah, just that in passing. Now, going back to the days of fanzines, so I used to be involved in quite a few fanzines, writing for other people, doing my own. And this came out, 2 Decades of Comics. Now, basically, it reviews all the comics that came out in the 60s and 70s. And I show it to you as a scarce item because, I love reading this. It was absolutely brilliant. I was able to find out all about the different characters and the famous issues and what have you. So that's an example of it's not exactly a fanzine. It's more professional than that, but it's got a fanzine sensibility. And I'll just show it to you as a scarce item that is of interest to anybody who might be into fanzines these days. Nice book. Now, sometimes magazines give you bits and pieces. I just thought I'd show you an example of a couple of stuff that comes packed with old gaming magazines. This goes back to X360, but it's Rare, the Ultimate Story. Now, everybody likes rare games, apparently. I'm not too keen myself, but everybody likes them. And that was a little booklet that was given away with an issue of X360. And I just show it to you as a scarce item because it has become rather popular on eBay at horrible prices, as is this. It came with the magazine. I can never remember the title, Computer and Video Games magazine, yeah. This came as a free in 1996. Once again, it's one of these things that you can look for on eBay and come across at horrendous prices. So, even sort of like £4 or £5 magazines, the stuff that came with them can have more value than the magazines these days. Right, now this is an unusual one. This is a Japanese magazine that I subscribed to in the late 80s, early 90s, called Gamest. Back in those days before internet and wiki and everything, there was very little you could buy that gave you information about arcades. And this particular magazine I came across when I was on a visit to London in the Japan Centre, and I thought, that looks nice. It's got it's got adverts and screenshots inside, but it was mainly the adverts that I was drawn to. And so I subscribed to it. I think I bought 3 of these separately, and I subscribed to it for a year. So I've got about 15 of these things. But I present it to you as a scarce item because have a look on eBay and try and find one. And as I say, the reason I bought it is because there just wasn't any information about arcades out there, and of course the Japanese were the people involved in many of the great games, and so that's why I subscribed to it. But it's a very scarce item. Right, now if we talk about scarce, sometimes we have to talk about rare. Now I very rarely, as you know, talk about rare. But I actually got this the other day, so I haven't shown it in a video yet. But when it comes to Destiny memorabilia and merchandise, it's my specialist subject at the moment, and I'm always on the hunt for rare items, if you like. And this is a letter that was sent to, how do they put it, game managers. Now, I assume they're talking about people who run gaming shops. And it was presented at one of the conventions that Bungie used to do. And it's just a bit of advertising, really, but it's professionally printed, and it's got the Bungie and Activision stamps at the bottom there, so it's pucker. And I mean, this cost me, I think the guy who was selling it wanted 40 quid. I got it for half that. I was happy to pay it because, you know, in, to say, 5 years of collecting Destiny stuff, I've never seen one. Never likely to again, quite frankly. So that, you know, that's a case of, you know, some people might say you pay 20 quid for a bit of paper. It isn't a bit of paper. It's a part of Destiny history as far as I'm concerned. And as I say, I was quite happy to pay the 20 quid that it cost me. Right, we'll jump on to books now. Talking as we were about the Gamest magazine there, this was one of the very first professionally done books about the old 1980s arcades, you know, your Space Invaders, Tempest, Invasion of the Space Invaders. I'll show it to you as a scarce item because you can find copies on eBay, but finding it at a decent price is pretty hard. And yeah, it's got some very nice shots of the arcades. Let's see, a pinball machine there, the Space Invaders pinball machine. But yes, it has become something of a cult publication, and as I say, it did have screenshots from the actual games, and printed on very nice paper. I mean, it's 30, 40 years old now, and it's still white as the day I bought it. So yeah, printed on very professional paper, but I show it to you as an interesting example of an early book that covers the video arcades. Now this one picked up in, you can see it all there, Grand Prix moods. Picked it up in a charity shop for a couple of quid, and it's actually when I show it as an unusual item, really, it's a book that's limited to 500, which is, you know, quite small as a print run, and it says produced specifically for companies involved in the sport. This book is one of only 500 issues for retail sale. So, you know, I was quite happy to buy that, especially for such a paltry price. And it's just an example of what you can find in charity shops if you're prepared to look. Right, now this one is an interesting item. On the face of it, it isn't. It's just a book. Bernie Wrightson, a look back. It's a retrospective of Bernie Wrightson's career. Came out, I don't know, 90s maybe, early 90s. And I show it as an unusual item, possibly a unique item, because inside it has 4 pages printed out of order. Now, to the regular sort of like comic book fan, it wouldn't mean a lot, but to a collector, it would mean a heck of a lot, because, you know, it would almost become a variant, if you like. Now, I don't know if this was just a one-off. I don't know much about the printing process, whether there were hundreds of them, misnumbered the pages. I just don't know, but certainly it is an item of interest. And if you find one, have a look inside to see if the pages are running in the right order. But yeah, it's one of the more interesting items that I've picked up. Now, when it comes to games, there's not much you can't find. And back in the day of the PS3, I was very into games. I was PS3 Steelbooks, and I was very much into variants. And some of the variants I used to collect were those variants that were pre-orders, like as this one was at Game, or had jackets on. And this is both. It's pre-order and it's got a jacket on. Now, not many of these were produced. If it was a pre-order, there wouldn't have been many produced. And basically, it's a jacket with Ratchet and Clank. There, you've got Sackboy. You've got Nathan Drake from Uncharted. And there's one more. Now, the other one I haven't got. And I can tell you, through experience, that these are rare as hen's teeth. I very rarely use the word rare, as you know, but these are rare. And if I find the other one, I'll be very, very pleased. Another comic book, another game related. I just got this in the post yesterday, I think it was. It's an Amazon exclusive pre-order. It's like a little metal poster. I've never seen one of these before, so I just thought I would show it to you as an unusual item. Right, now, when it comes to Steelbooks, yeah, there's not much you can't pick up Steelbook-wise. I just thought I'd show you a couple that are a little bit more unusual. Well, that's Mortal Kombat 11. It came out on, let's see if I can get it the right way up, Mortal Kombat Day London. Now, I don't know anything about this event, but it hasn't got a game in. What it does have is a little metal button and an invitation, a metal invitation ticket. Okay, now I think somewhere, this is an absolute swine to get out. Yeah, that's got the Mortal Kombat 11 sign on the back now. I don't know whether it's on this invitation, but no, it's not. I think that, yeah. It says number 1454 of 2000, so there's only 2,000 of these made, which is not a lot. But yeah, as a Steelbook without a game in, given that it was, I don't know what it's given away, whether you had to buy it, but it's one of the more unusual Steelbooks, excuse me, that I've seen. And this was quite an unusual one. It's the Sony 20th anniversary Steelbook. I think you bought a PSN voucher, I think it's inside of it. But yeah, I didn't actually buy this with a voucher. Well, I did, sorry, because Game were selling it cheap. So the voucher's value was, what I bought it for was a lot less than the voucher's value, I remember now. But yeah, that's an interesting Steelbook. This one was a PC limited edition, and it was a pre-order for Brothers in Arms, Battle Hill 3. And it's got various bits and pieces inside. That's a little sort of like strategy book, and you've got some little cards there with information on. But yeah, you don't very often see anything quite like that as a pre-order. It's not a proper steelbook. It's one of those. But yeah, I thought it was unusual enough. It's quite. I showed you as a scarce item actually, because you don't see many of them about. And just to round off quickly before we run out of time, I don't want the video to go kablooey. This was a nice little interesting steel jacket. You don't see many of these. It's just like a steel jacket that comes with a game inside. It's lovely. So unusual in its design. Okay, and it comes also with an outer cover, and then last but not least we have pre-order. One of the best pre-orders I've ever seen. I show it to you as a scarce item because they're tricky to find. I'm getting red flashing on here now, so I've shown it to you, and there it is, and I'm going to have to close the video now. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks very much for subscribing, everybody, and I will see you fairly soon. Bye-bye now.